I went on an excursion. I went even to see Monte Cassino. I walked the cemetery. I walked to the Monte Cassino battlegrounds where they fought for Monte Cassino Castle. I went after, of course, they finished the fighting, not during the fighting. And from then I went to Italy.
But wasn't it when you were in that cemetery, you saw a gravestone that said Criata on it?
Oh.
Yeah, I found a grave under the name of Criata Vladislav, I think his name was.
And you wrote it down because you thought
I
it
wrote
might be
it-
useful at some point.
I wrote it down, and I actually wrote down the number of the gravestone. And I took that with me, and later on I presented that when I wanted to go to England. So I said,
As your own identity?
No. He said that he was related to him.
I said I was that my son, that my father was buried on Monte Cassino cemetery, and I gave him the number of the grave. Ever since when I first found that grave, I was very sentimental at that particular stage as a small orphan. That I recorded his number, and I kept it in my wallet. Still have it, in fact.
Really?
Well, I don't know whether I can still find it because Babcha has done a cleanup, and she's probably thrown it away.
Oh,
But
if
it
she
was,
hasn't.
I carried it on my wallet.
So Italy was your first stop out of Poland, and Austria was your last stop before
No, you
Australia.
went to after
So then-
Poland,
Yeah.
Austria.
Poland, Austria, then England.
Italy.
England, then Italy.
Yeah. And how old were you at all these stages?
I was 13 when I went to work for Germans.
To
In Austria.
13
Austria.
in Austria.
Yeah. Is that where you
Austria
learned
is actually Germany.
He had learned
Yeah.
a bit of German at school
Ah.
beforehand.
But also in Austria you learned German. Is that
Yeah,
why you
it's
speak
German sprechen.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I haven't got much of it left these days.
We've had a German conversation before.
Yeah.
Oh, we probably could. At the pinch, if there was an emergency, we'd converse in German.
What sort of things would you have to do in the labour camp on a day-to-day
The
basis?
whole normal farming duties. I had. My official position was I was my farmer's foreman.
Foreman.
I was riding his horse,
Mm.
and wherever he went, I was his driver.
Mm.
But the good bit of that story is that Dziadzio didn't know how to ride a horse. But when they asked him when he first came to the farm, what skills, and they said, "Can you ride a horse?" And Dziadzio said, "Yeah, of course."
Of course.
But no, Dziadzio also had a good story of how he got chosen to be allowed to stay on the farm.
Yeah, actually, when I was in Austria for quite some time, and we went on an excursion. I was obviously I was a likable little
Chippy.
because whoever came to talk to us, and I was also pretty snoopy sort of a fellow. I always wanted to talk to newcomers and talk in their own tongue. So when I was in Austria, I was knowledgeable in German. And I was a cheeky little devil, and I didn't show any shyness about it. Or I pushed my nose wherever I went, and when my farmer came, when they were liquidating Polish camp there, and when we had to vanish. In other words, we had to vanish. I was with my older sister, and she had one child, and she was pregnant with the second one, and her husband was already mobilized by Polish army in Italy.
Was that your stepsister?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
half sister.
Yeah,
Half sister?
half sister.
Half sister.
Anyway, well, I'm losing myself.
So how you got chosen to be on the farm?
Oh,
Yeah.
when when they started liquidating the camp, they took open. They decided to have an open day in the camp, and farmers came and selected chosen farm workers for their farms. Well, I was then my farmer's foreman. You know what foreman is?
Yeah.
The man who
Foreman.
drives.
Driver.
The driver. Yeah. And
The manager.
no, not a manager. I was driver. I was driving him. Whenever he had to drive anywhere, he was
Oh, I
not
see.
driving himself. He had a beautiful two-wheeler, four-wheelers actually.
Like a
Two-
wagon.
Yeah, driver, and I sat on the front seat with a big whip.
With 2 horses at the front.
Now one
horse.
beautiful little pony. That was my farmer's favorite pony, and I was in charge of it. That was my prime duty, and I took my farmer everywhere. Everywhere he went, I drove him, and consequently, on this particular occasion, they told us that we have to be picked up by some other farmers because they liquidating this charitable establishment where the Polish Second Corps looked after it. And because I had also a sister who was heavily pregnant and had a small baby in her arm, and she was very concerned that how is she going to manage as a farm worker. Anyway, this is primarily why I was with her, because I came with her to help her. And her husband was taken to Polish army, and he was already gone. And I was just with her, and the two, and one baby with a mother and pregnant. So they told us to line up along the railway line with our gear and our families, and there will be trains going past, and Germans would select the groups that they want for themselves. Well,
Where did the other people go?
then,
Where did the people that weren't chosen go?
well, they told us that people that will not be chosen will be taken to mines, salt mines in Austria. No, it wasn't salt mines. It was stone mines, mining stones for building. Anyway, I lined up with my team of workers, and they told us that there'll be no more after today. There'll be no place for me. So I took them, and nobody took us. Nobody. They just looked at the Kinder and this Weiber and Kinder, and no farmers didn't want to have such little workers. Anyway, after a while, I decided we had to do something to ingratiate ourselves to somebody. I see. I was sitting at the level of the railway line with my group, and along the front of the railway line, where these German illustrating us to see whom they picking. And suddenly I see that the next group coming in is German Bauer and his wife, and they have beautiful dog, about that big with them. The lady has the dog on the leash, and they walk slowly and discuss something. And they stopped in front of where I was with my group. And I started looking at the dog, and I went over to pat him, and I said to the lady, "Scheine Hund." It's a nice dog. And the Bauer looked at me. "Sprichst Deutsch? Du sprichst Deutsch?" I said, "A bisschen." And he asked me, where did you learn? I said, Polish school. Polish school teaching German language? Ja, jawohl. And i tak zaczęliśmy rozmawiać. And he says, after a while, when I talked to the dog for a while, and the dog was very friendly to me, he started licking my hand, and I kept patting him, and the Bauer started turn around to his wife, and I thought there was going to be a battle, because he was shouting his own desires and she wasn't keen. Apparently, she was keen on taking me, and he wasn't keen, and he said, with such a small baby, she's very useless on a farm. And Bauer came over onto the other side, pat me on the shoulder, and motioned me on to come in onto his little cart. And I
No, not yet.
anyway, I went and I grabbed his what do you call the
Lead.
lead?
The dog's lead?
It was the part of the horse's harness.
No, reins.
Mane.
Like when you pull.
That's
like,
right,
yeah, reins.
So I
Yeah.
grabbed something, and he could see that I have already done something like that at home. So he says, "Have you got horses?" I said, "Not me, my father has horses." And he said, "Oh, your father has horses?" I said, "Yeah, my father is a farmer." And he said, "How many horses he's got?" Oh, I said, "I don't know, 6 or 8. I was just lying like this.
Was your dad even a farmer?
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
Did he have
my
horses really?
daddy was
Yeah.
a farmer, but he didn't have, he had only one kubila.
Oh,
Anyway, I told him that that horse on the farm, that he's had several harnesses that the father used for farming duties, for heavy duty, light duty, and for his own excursions. So I said that I was my father's foreman, and he said, "Okay, come on, take your team and come to me."
Did he try to tell you that only you could come? Like, did you have to say, "I'm only going if I come with
No,
my sister"?
no.
Or he knew that you were a team?
We were in families,
Yeah, okay.
and I was in my family
Yeah.
with him. He did actually ask me, "Who with whom are you?" And I actually told him that I had a, and I remember that, and he said, then the farmer explained to his wife that my sister, my pregnant sister, has a little baby I was a little baby. I was still in arms, and she wasn't very keen on having instead of having a helper on the farm, she was getting another liability. Anyway, the farmer obviously liked me. He grabbed me by the scruff of it. He said,
When you like
Come
someone.
Come on.
"Come on."
I like you.
So we went.
Smack on the head.
We went, and we became part of his team.
So that happened once you arrived in Austria. And how did you get to Austria? Like
How?
train or something?
How did I get to Austria? I was taken by the German labor camp.
And did they take you on a train? Or
I was my farmer's worker, slave worker.
yeah.
But how did you get there?
Was it on a
took
train?
me.
On a train?
Germans took me to labor camp. They took me by lorry.
Okay.
And I worked for a couple of years for this farmer. And during our first conversation, I didn't narrate exactly everything because I don't remember everything exactly. But I remember telling him that I worked on the farm, that my father is a farmer, and that we have horses and cows and
Bees.
and bees.
Yeah, bees.
We did have bees.
Yeah, bees.
We did have bees. I didn't mention them. I forgot about it. Anyway, when actually Germans were in a desperate situation concerning labor shortage, they were taking people from left, right, and center. So I was taken to labor to Germany, Austria. Austria and Germany was then united into one nation.
So was it all called Germany? When it
Oh,
was-
no, they themselves called Ein Reich,
Mm.
one nation, Austria and
Empire.
and,
So
and
you were taken later on in the war as well,
this is during the war.
but maybe during like the last 2 years of the war.
The last 2 years that I spent in I was at the labor camp until the end of the war.
For 2 years, was
2 years in this particular.
it? Yeah.
Then I was when the war ended, I was taken over by the Polish army from that farmer's property,
Okay.
and I became dependent of the Polish army.
Yeah.
I had, as a soldier, I was cute too, because I was very short short,
And skinny.
You're like Chibi.
something like that. And I was
More like
very,
Yogi, a bit tougher.
very cute, obviously. Wherever I went to, somebody tried to take me under his arm. And
Actually, I imagine him being like Martian.
No.
and in
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of
Because
little bit, like a bit
functions,
of a
yeah.
tubby.
Yeah. Have you seen the photos of Dziadzio during this period?
Some.
Yeah.
forget what I was trying to say.
What was your question, Sophie?
Oh, it was answered. I just wanted to know. I think it was later during the war. Maybe the Germans were starting to become a bit desperate, so they started bringing more people into camps.
When the war was starting to go not successful
Exactly.
for them, they were recruiting their own 14-year-old youth. Jugend battalions were taken over into the arms and armed and they were in fact defending Berlin. But I didn't. I did in fact. It was proposed that I join the German army, and I said that I am not German, and I am not joining.
Yeah.
And consequently, when the war ended, I was in Germany on the farm, but I wasn't part of the armed establishment.
So how did they, when they wanted you to join the German army, like how did they not just force you to do it?
Well, actually, it was my proposal was that they should send me to school because I was still under school age, and they were keeping me on the farm. And one of my colleagues on the farm was obviously a little bit more knowledgeable than I was, and he said that you shouldn't be working because in Germany under, I forget what it is, under 14 or under 15, have to be in school. And I went to my Frau Kogler and I said that I am told that I am in school age and I should be at school. And he looked at me and said, news to me. And he said, I'll have to discuss this with my wife. And she actually discussed it with labor establishment, Arbeitsamt. Arbeitsamt decided that yes, he should be, but he has to sign Deutsch folk papers that I am of German origin.
Oh, and then you'd have to be in the German
You
army.
could be conscripted. Yeah.
And I said, I went to my senior colleagues with whom I was there, and they said, well, if you want to be a German citizen, you can sign, but too late, they're losing the war. Anyway, I said, no, I don't want to sign. I am a Pole and I will finish as a Pole. So they said, Bauer said, well, I'm sorry, but you can't go to school.
Yeah, surely at that point the worst thing you can think of would be to be made to fight in the German army.
Or even be a German.
Well, I would be, if I did sign the papers that I am German, I'd have to join Hitler Jugend.
Yeah. Everyone knows how creepy that is.
And become,
Creepy.
I would speak German, all right.
So
Don't
the
they
farmer
really?
and his wife,
The German
what
youth,
kind of
everyone
people
knows how
were they?
creepy
Were
that is.
they
They
decent
were,
enough?
No, they were decent enough
Yeah.
people.
Why?
They worked very hard themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that most farmers
That's what I said,
work
everyone knows.
for their
That's
living.
exactly what I was saying.
And whether they are in Poland or in Austria,
Anyway.
they work hard. Like he had a very large establishment, and he was about my age now. He was a cripple. He was in the Hitler armed divisions. He was in charge of all the foreigners in that particular county. And I would never sign any German papers. It was against my upbringing that my mother inculcated into me. Anyway, that never came under question. I was never formally offered to join the Hitler Jugend. Although I was befriended by a Hitler Jugend when I was with my Bauer, with my farmer, during Saturday and Sundays, when all the farm workers had free days, I had to stay with my farmer to drive him around if and when he wanted to go somewhere. But I was quite happy that I didn't have to work as hard as others, because being a Fuhrmann is much easier than being a plowman.
Doing the like hard physical labor stuff.
Now I was too small to do physical. I wouldn't be able to pull a signal.
All depends what nice to a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be nice to dogs.
The moral of the story is always
But
be nice
I
to dogs.
I did look after my little horse. I like that
Oh,
horse.
Chippy, the little horse.
What kind of things did the farm produce?
Everything.
Yeah.
The European farms are not specialized
Okay.
at that level. Some
Your face.
extra large establishments could have specialized in certain line of fruit, or not fruit but produce. Our Bauer had everything from cabbages to you name it. What grows on the farm, he had it, and he was a very good-
Lychees. Lychees.
Rubber tongue?
He was a very good farmer, actually,
But he didn't even have lunch.
considering his age.
Can't be like that.
Don't do that to him.
Considering his age, he was
Yeah.
a good farmer, and he was a just farmer, in spite of the fact that
Yeah.
he was a powerful person. He was always very good. I must tell you, when the Germans started withdrawing from France because they were losing the war, the farmer, when we were riding, I was driving and he would be sitting in the second seat, and he would question me on the mode of behavior that the Russian soldiers have shown when they came to Poland first time. And I was under them,
I think so.
and I told him
I'll have a chamomile.
terribly
Yeah.
frightening situation. I said that they have actually
Mateusz?
killed all bad farmers. Bad farmers,
Chamomile, please.
farmers who did not.
Do you want a tea? Do you want a tea?
No.
Chamomile?
No.
Can I have a sleepy time tea, please? Yes. Thank you.
I told him a story of that when Russians came into Poland the first time, first thing they did, they killed all the rich farmers. They
Sounds
actually
pretty
didn't kill them.
Russian.
They took
Are you
them
up
to
in the
Siberia,
top
of
cupboard,
course.
top corner
Yeah.
cupboard?
But I told them
In the
that they
box.
killed them.
Yeah, no. In the top corner cupboard.
And before killing them, they asked the laborers whether it was
Yeah.
a good farmer
Thanks, yours.
or a bad farmer. And if somebody said that he was bad, cruel farmer, they tortured him beforehand. I found him stories.
What if he was a good farmer?
He
Still
was good.
Siberia?
No. I said he was a good one. He was allowed to continue his farm.
Yeah.
Anyway, he must have believed me because he was quite accepting.
Yeah. Hmm. She's thinking about starting her own doggy labor camp.
I'm wondering whether she's kind of looking at Virginia of. Yeah.
This is just like something in the kitchen, the food room. Are they going to get more food, and can I have some of that food?
She's certainly keen on more food.
Something
What tea would you like, Jenna?
Something herbal, please.
There's sleepy time. I think sleepy time.
Oh,
might
I'd
have
love a
liquid.
sleepy
What's the
time.
time?
tea.
Speaking of sleepy time.
Oh my God, it's 10:05.
Yeah, time
No,
is
it's-
crazy.
I still want to watch Fantasia.
Have you got Fantasia somewhere?
On the internet.
Yeah. So I tried to buy Matt his video.
Yeah, I've got
and Did I end up
Yeah.
finding it for you?
Yep.
Because I felt so guilty that I had been
Taped it over.
taped over his
Is this
Fantasia.
still taking pictures?
Yeah. Did he take one off the TV?
Well, I had taped it for him because we used to just take stuff. And then he became so obsessed
All the
with it
best to you.
that I thought it
I'm not
seemed
leaving yet. I just wanted to give you a
unhealthy.
On the
And so then
occasion
one day we taped it.
birthday.
Thank you, Jaja.
I'm holding.
And then, of course, as he got older, then I felt just really
You got the
horrible that
job?
I had done this and,
Yeah.
and that it was such a good
Yeah.
movie and,
Not
had, and
permanent,
it wasn't.
is it?
I just figured, oh,
Yeah,
I'll get
it's
it again
permanent.
sometime and
Yeah.
it was never on again.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jaja. And it takes me under 1 minute to walk to work.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, how do you can put up with that?
Hopefully one day it will
Should be-
take less than 10 seconds.
That means
Well,
it's got to be
you're
your own
extremely
business.
lucky. You landed in the extremely lucky situation
I know.
where you are good. At the moment when I read that people are offered short-term
Yeah.
trial positions.
Yeah. I know. I'm very happy that it's a permanent position.
Mm.
But I think I wouldn't have taken it if it wasn't. Although I guess I did take that temporary job. And then they asked me to do an interview for it to be a full-time position. But then I had to decide which ones.
And you and
And I went with the one that I'm
And that's
doing
the other
now
one. She's
because it was
She's
like
worried
closer
that
to my
bone.
house.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the pay was better.
She was
as
very
well.
good the way she stayed on
Well,
her
actually,
newspaper.
being so near to
Eating her
your
bone.
place, it's worth over $150 a year.
It's worth a lot of money that it's so close.
Oh,
Because
That
it's like
probably
being
more.
paid extra money because you don't have to
Take time.
travel to and from work. So it's like working an hour or 2 hours less every day.
Mm.
yeah, exactly.
Yes, you're
And
right.
also aside from that's just your time.
Let
There's
alone
also the
cost.
petrol and the
Yeah.
or the train ticket or however you get to work, the actual cost of that as well. So
Mm.
it's
Good.
good. It's really good.
Stress levels.
Mm.
And you're
And
close
also-
to nice lunch places.
Sleeping an extra hour
Oh,
every day.
And
That's
it's also
big.
part of the new Melbourne, what's it called?
you're the one.
Cool stuff.
What's the strategic plan for Melbourne? Melbourne
Melbourne
40.
2050 or something. Isn't
Oh,
that
that you
the
should
Yeah,
be able
number.
to like live, work, and like have all of
Yeah.
everything you
within
need
20
within
minutes
20,
from home.
Yeah.
20
Mm.
meters or 20 kilometers.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Not 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
20
20
minutes.
meters.
In my mind, I just like
So
shorthanded
all your
minutes.
recreation, your work and your...
Yeah, Jenna's doing it.
Do you know what I mean?
I work here, but I live in that room over there. I sleep over there, but I do my work at this desk. And I go to the doctor in that room when Uncle Greg's here.
When I go to the holidays, I go to the back room.
Tea.
Yes, and put my holiday coat on.
No, and also going to the holiday.
Bring him out later.
He's going on holiday, he's going to the backyard.
Yes, really lucky to be in that situation.
And when I go to visit
Thanks,
another
Yuki.
culture, I go to the next
Pleasure.
neighbour's house.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Gary.
When I go on holidays, I just hop to them.
Here, come on with us.
Camomille.
Shit.
Grazie. Grazie.
Chibi. Good girl. Sorry?
Strike a pose.
I don't remember the name of that plan.
Melbourne 20.